XDefiant is officially dead. Now, we're going to talk about this for a minute because this is one I've been keeping my eye on since they announced it and they were doing the betas. There's a lot to cover here because there's my initial predictions, then there was all the hype on the internet about it's the COD killer, and then there was rumor that it was going to shut down, but then the studio lead had put out information saying, no, no, we're working on content and all is well. And then, there's also a lot bigger of an issue with Ubisoft as a company that is guaranteed to play a factor in all this. And now today, at the recording of this video, which is December 3rd at about 8, let's see, let's call it 10:30 p.m. Eastern, roughly. Uh, it was announced, I don't know, like within the last couple hours, like all this stuff. So here, let's go to the freaking screen here. So this is from Insider Gaming, but it's everywhere. Everybody's reporting on this, and basically they're saying XDefiant's going to be shutting down in June of 25. But before we read any more on this article, we want to hear it from the man himself, Mark Rubin. And I'm going to read this verbatim. We're going to go through this. So he says, "Hey, XD fans, I'm unfortunately here to announce we'll be shutting down. Starting today, December 3rd, new downloads and player registrations will no longer be available. We will still release our Season 3 content in the near future, exact date to be determined, and the servers will remain active until June 3rd of 2025. For those who purchase the Unlimited Founders Pack, you'll receive a full refund. Players who made any purchases within the last 30 days will also be fully refunded. Those refunds should happen automatically within 8 weeks of today, and you can find more details on the official website. A few years ago, Ubisoft and the SF dev team embarked on a bold adventure to develop a new arcade shooter called XDefiant. It was from the start an incredible challenge. Not only were we trying to shake up the genre by removing skill-based matchmaking while bringing back a more old-school arcade shooter experience, but we were also diving into high-risk, high-reward realm of free-to-play. And for that, I wanted to applaud the dev team, blah, blah, blah. We're going to come back to that point right there. He says, they say we were trying to shake up the genre. And to do that, they were going to just remove SBMM and bring the old school arcade experience. Keep that in your mind as we're going through this video. We're going to come back to that. This free-to-play in particular is a long journey. Many free-to-play games take a long time. Unfortunately, the journey became too much to sensibly continue. Became too much to sensibly continue. That's like marketing speak for the companies in a real shithole, and financially, they're gonna be picky choosy on what projects they want to give the axe to. And XDefiant is definitely not performing up to expectation. Guaranteed, like financially, I'm guaranteed. He says, "I am of course heartbroken to have been writing this post. Yes, game has been a personal passion for years. I know that not all challenges lead to victory, but I also want to recognize all the developers who are being affected with the closure. Each and every one of them is a real person with a." We're going to talk about that too. We're going to cover a lot of things in this video. We're going to cover this statement. We're going to cover like what it means for layoffs, what it means for AAA gaming in general, the nature of the, realm that is AAA gaming. We're going to go over some receipts because from previous statements I've made in the past, we're going to cover a lot of that. What we've achieved is truly remarkable. Nothing wrong with patting devs on the back, right? Any game developer who's building a game, like they work very hard, and layoffs are not cool. They're really not. It says, "To our players, thank you, and I want to express deepest gratitude." Da, 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 da. Okay. If y'all want to read the full thing, y'all can go check out his post here on X. So then Charlie Intel reported this shortly after the news was breaking on the internet. The closure was the first thing I saw. Then we saw this. Ubisoft is laying off 177 people as part of the shutting down XDefiant, including closing 2 studios. Half of the XD team is moving to other projects, so those people will still have jobs. Yay for them. Sucks to not be one of those people that gets to keep their job. I want to be clear in my statement too for all the people in the comments. Like, I do not advocate for people who work hard on something just losing their job just because there's maybe poor leadership reasons or whatever, right? Or mismanaging of funds or financing. I'm not sure what the source root cause of all the turmoil at Ubisoft is. It seems to be a lot of really bad leadership decisions. And a lot of times that obviously results in people, probably really good people, losing their jobs. So I do not advocate for that. I don't like that at all. That being said, did I think that this was gonna fail from the beginning? Yes, and we'll get into that a little bit later. It said Ubisoft had hoped the game would compete with Call of Duty. Big mistake. But recently was denying shutdown rumors and amid declining player numbers. Correction: 277 jobs will be impacted. Um, Ubisoft San Francisco production studio or SF. I guess that's San Francisco. Um, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong there. The business office will remain open. Yeah, yeah. There was even a community note earlier in the year when the rumors were circulating, and then Mark Rubin had confirmed that they were still continuing. Well, I guess maybe they gave him like a window. Maybe they gave him like a window of time and said, "All right, like the rumors are swirling around, but like, look, you need to turn this around and get these numbers up, or we're gonna have to can it." Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. So, what else we have? So, let's get into some receipts. This is some personal stuff for me because if y'all don't remember, like everyone was saying that this game was gonna kill COD. This was the COD killer. Yeah, just over a month ago, Mark Rubin said there were no plans for shutting down at all, which is true. And this is just like the Charlie Intel's X account. So let's see if anything from Insider Gaming is going to add to this before we get into the receipts. Uh, in August, this outlet reported that they were on borrowed time despite initially having strong player numbers. Frustrations within the studio were always aimed at its leadership, so that makes sense, who refused to take responsibility for the project's shortcomings, which could have been avoided with a better studio culture, said the people. Yeah. They reported on the studio's toxic work culture. And this is not just for XDefiant. Okay. This is a Ubisoft problem. And it's a well known Ubisoft problem. Okay. And if y'all haven't been keeping up with earlier reports, Ubisoft is like quietly seeking being purchased. Like they want to sell, like I guess the shareholders, they want to offload Ubisoft and sell it, and who knows what else. Like it's just losing them so much money, and their stock is down horribly, and it's a total shit show. Um, and then yeah, so there's been a lot going on, and that's why I've been keeping my eyes on this specifically for a long time. So let's get into some receipts. So keeping things 100 around here, your boy HelmetFire, I had called, I had said that this game won't last 6 months after it launches. Turns out I was wrong, but not really. I was wrong on the timeline, but I was not wrong overall. And we're going to go through a little bit of that here. So this is my timeline just with an advanced search, right? And I'm going to go back to the earliest one, which I did play the beta, and I was excited about it first. So let's see, where is it? This is, so I was replying to some people that I know. I just think XDefiant, this is from April 18th of 23. Being a base arena shooter isn't enough, even if they do it well, because there's plenty of those already. It has to stand out somehow. Not sure what that is, but I'm telling you, it needs something else if it wants to last. I got roasted for that. I got completely roasted by anyone that was listening. And yeah, and I'm over here trolling. I'm like, do these how's it doing these days? This was in September of last year. Or I'm sorry, this year, I think. Let's see. Ubisoft denies reports, blah, blah, blah. So they deny that it's dying, but won't comment on certain things. Early reports don't look great. Oh, by the way, have y'all seen Ubisoft stock lately? It's kind of in the dumpster. And I said this on September 17th. I said, if Ubisoft, I guarantee if Ubisoft has to cut any projects, XD is the first one on the chopping block. Save this post. And then I said, I wonder if XD will get the axe before November 15th, which was right around the 6 month mark. Okay. And then September 28th, I go on to say, I don't want anyone to lose their jobs. I really don't, but it's looking more and more like I might be right. If they do shut it down, I hope they shuffle employees and don't do layoffs. So, as critical as I am, I've been very adamant to say that I don't want people to lose their jobs over this shit, but too bad, so sad that's happening. So I didn't get my wish on that one. I was talking about here, like no harm in adding like a BR mode, like if they wanted to kind of like innovate on that, um, you know, aspect of the game. Like they have to innovate. They can't just be an arena shooter. Like dude, like Mark says himself. This is the craziest part of this statement that I really am like. I hope he gets roasted for this because like all these people online were talking about this and saying, "Oh, it's the COD killer and everything." Where is it? Not only were we trying to shake up the genre by removing SBMM while bringing back a more old school arcade shooter experience. Dude, okay, look. My biggest question is who in that leadership pool, whether it came from him or people above him, whose idea was it to say our whole hook to not only compete with Call of Duty, but to kill Call of Duty, which they weren't saying it was the COD killer, but it was a lot of a lot of people like bandwagoned on XDefiant, like, oh, it's the COD killer. This is it, finally. Like, and they got all hype. Like they're gonna get rid of SBMM and stick it to the man with Activision, like, because players have been salty about that forever, which COD has its problems. I'm not defending COD at all, but you get what I'm saying here. But this statement right here gives me a complete lack of faith in him as a leader, but also anyone involved in that decision making process right there. Who in the hell thought they would compete with Call of Duty just by giving the 10-year-old formula of arcade shooter with no innovation and remove SBMM, and that would be enough? Like, who like whoever made that decision is the person who should be reconsidering employment. I'll just put it that way. Like that's an insane take to me, man. That is the most insane take of this whole paragraph. And I really feel like Ubisoft's problems along with this kind of decision making is exactly why they're in the spot that they're in. I did a poll, more receipts, April 18th, 2023. What should XDefiant add to make it even better? Out of, I mean, 24 votes isn't shit. You know, let's call a spade a spade. I'm not trying to act like it's big numbers, but of that, BR and Fine as it is were the biggest ones. 37% said BR extraction. But here's the big one. May 14th of 2024, this year, which wasn't long. Let's see. It says, "Do you think XDefiant will still be popular 6 months after it launches?" So this was made just before it launched. Okay, this was they launched on like May 23rd or something like that. So somewhere around that window. I said, "Will it be popular or will the player base drop off in excess of say 60%? What do you think? Will the game last or die from lack of overall content?" Now, even though it was only 30 votes, 76% believed that it didn't last 6 months. And it's actually pretty insane because, again, the internet was, all the XD bros were like, "Oh, dude, this game is the best thing since sliced bread, finally, blah, blah, blah." And yeah, so let's see. May 15th, IGN reports Ubisoft canceled its upcoming free-to-play shooter Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland, which if I'm not mistaken, there were betas that people played for this. So it was really far in development. And I said, it looks like they're betting heavily on XD Siege and maybe Far Cry 7, just guessing. I figured this game might do pretty well for them. The whole gaming industry is just having an identity crisis right now. That was back in May, which is true. my best take on XDefiant. This is June 19th, so this was a little bit after they launched. I said I feel like I'm playing an awesome 10-year-old game. Why? Because what they do well, but it's an old concept. XD needs to add modes and innovate past the old stuff that works. Looking forward to the game's release. You know, um, and then I was saying it isn't going to change. I just feel bored playing it. They need to innovate. I'm telling you, 6 months or less, it's dead. Which again, I was wrong on that timeline. Okay, call I own up to that. That's fine. Look, it's you gamble with statements like that, but in the end, I wasn't really wrong. And then I said it's a 3.5 out of 5. It's decent, but lacks in anything innovative. To elaborate on that, I like the maps. The gameplay feels fluid. The cosmetics were okay, for microtransactions, but I don't really judge a game based on that. Again, it just feels like the really simplest basic idea of what COD felt like 10 years ago. I even wrote a whole ass article on this. Um, and then we were streaming and checking some stuff out. So that's kind of the gist. So there it is, man. So they're shutting down in June. Ubisoft has been having so many problems with games not meeting expectations. They've had, Star Wars Outlaws underperforming. Assassin's Creed Shadows is got so much bad publicity. Like Ubisoft got uninvited from Tokyo Game Show with Assassin's Creed Shadows controversy. Y'all can go look that up for yourself, but that shit is a dumpster fire. And I feel bad for Assassin's Creed fans because it's just, there's just so many leadership decisions at Ubisoft. And a lot of it is the whole go woke, go broke thing. Like, there's no denying it. There's no sugarcoating it. Like, there's too much like DEI, too much like injecting narratives instead of just making a fun game. Like, it's plagued a lot of Ubisoft and a lot of their products. And y'all can roast me in the comments all you want for that, but here's the reality. Numbers do not lie. People vote with their wallets, and the majority of people are sick of the DEI heavy, the force narrative heavy bullshit. And it has caused Ubisoft as a company as a whole to really, start becoming a dumpster fire, and projects are getting canceled. XD's getting shut down, which I called a long time ago. You know, it's like I'm really starting to wonder if Far Cry 7 is even going to happen, and if it does, like, what's that going to be like? So I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. I just felt like I had to make a video on this because, as y'all saw in my receipts, like, I've been calling this for a long time, dude. I've been talking about this game for a long time. I've got the receipts. I pulled them up, and where it pertains to the good devs out there that are busting their ass on games, like, I never will advocate for good people losing their job. Uh, but it is what it is, right? I can't control that. I don't like it. I mean, some of the people got to keep their jobs. That's great for them. I think what needs to happen is leadership, people making decisions like this crazy shit right here. Those are the people that need to be challenged on their positions. And I'm not really saying I want people to get fired so much as I'm saying, like, what are you going to do within your company to look at the people making these decisions that are costing your company money? And what are you going to do to help, like, train them up, or whatever it is you got to do to make them a better asset for your company? Because just firing somebody, like, isn't always a solution. Sometimes it is. Sometimes people just need to get their hell out. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's always the case. People like this are not new to the industry, and a lot of concepts that are driving this kind of narrative in games right now are newer initiatives, right? 15, 20 years ago, people just played video games and it was just fun. It didn't matter if you were getting yelled at through prox chat and, getting told something about your mom. or getting teabagged. It's like, you know, and now all of a sudden it's all this snowflake DEI, forced narrative, trauma dump stuff. And it's like, and that as a company for Ubisoft has led them to all these issues. XDefiant, outside of cosmetic stuff, I didn't see anything forced narrative or anything like that. But like, but what he said here is, we're trying to shake up the genre and compete with Call of Duty, and all we're gonna do is copy a 10-year-old formula with no innovation, and we're gonna get rid of SBMM, and y'all are gonna come play, right? It's like, dude, like that's not good leadership ideology thinking. Like anyone outside of gaming with any kind of business knowledge of the AAA gaming industry would look at that and be like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you going to compete with Call of Duty? How are you going to compete with anyone? You know what I mean? Like that's just a ludicrous statement to me. So anyway, my rant is pretty much done. Let me know in the comments what you think, man. Can we just get back to making video games fun and allowing players to have fun with each other without all this forced injected bull crap? Like can we just get back to that? Wouldn't that be great? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, bell notifications, you know the drill. And I'm gonna get the hell out of here. We'll see you guys in the next one.